Freddie Andersen, excellent. Is this one of the best games that you've seen from him since he's been a member of the Hurricanes? Despite maybe, okay, so there was 21 shots, but some of the saves and the timeliness, I would say, of them early in the game were huge, and it's what kept Carolina alive. It's what gave them the momentum essentially to keep pushing and to eventually find their game.
Yeah, Freddie's been absolutely huge for Carolina this postseason. Best game, I don't know about best game because he's had some good ones. I think New Jersey, that one, kind of the way he was able to kind of compose himself in some of those New Jersey games.
Yeah.
But just like you said, it's Rod Brenner always talks about this too. It's not necessarily how many saves you make; it's when you make the saves. It's timely saves. That's the most important thing in a game. And especially, I think the biggest save of the game, too, it was off the kind of like a face-off play. Ovechkin, sneaks out right into the front of the net, gets that redirect right in front, and Andersen pops out the pad to get that toe save on it. Puck goes in right there, which is by one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, if not the. That's a completely changed the complexion of the game. Playing with a lead is night and day difference between how you can handle yourselves and play against a team.
Well, here's another question we've got. Do the Caps have enough depth scoring to push back in Game 4? And I'll add to that question because I saw a comment earlier that was wondering if maybe there is, an age gap between these teams in terms of Washington. Like you mentioned, they have veteran players, but obviously there's a factor that weighs on you when you are an older player. The stamina, not to say that these guys aren't all in amazing shape, but is there some factor that maybe Carolina has an advantage of with some of their younger guys? Like you mentioned, the tenaciousness of a guy like Stankoven was on full display. And I think that was a big factor in what I think could ultimately sort of sway this series completely in Carolina's direction. Is Washington capable of finding that? Can they dig deep enough? Are they deep enough to do it?
Yeah, I think Washington has some good bottom six players, but none of them are like scoring threats necessarily. I would think of, like Nick Dad, Brandon O'Haim are great defensive players, but their goals are going to come far and few between. I think the biggest problem for Washington is that their top guys just haven't made enough of an impact yet. I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois hasn't done too much. Alex Ovechkin hasn't really gotten on the score sheet. I think outside of that first game, Alexei Protas hasn't, made his mark. Tom Wilson had a great game too, but this game was a little bit tougher for him. I think Washington needs their top six to come through in this series because, like you mentioned, the goal scoring is not as deep, especially if they're taking Ryan Leonard out of the lineup.
Yeah,
they lose that kind of that edge, that little young spark that they had, and I just don't know if they're deep enough. If that top six isn't playing as well as they did for the season, almost all of them had career years, and now they're just you need Dylan Strum. Like these guys need to produce if Washington's going to have any shot, I believe.